Hey guys, sorry for the delay. I've been in and out of the hospital a lot, so I decided to try to tackle one big card, the one that so many people have been having trouble with, and that's Yogg-Saron Rage Unbound. So now I've been tinkering with this card for about a month now, and I have to say, yes, he is wildly underrated, but yes, he's also very, very difficult to get a hang of. So I'm going to share all the do's and don'ts that I learned about building a deck around Yogg-Saron so you can really dominate the ladder with this fun little bastard.
Anyways, first thing you have to know about the card is how it plays, what its mechanic is, and that's at the end of your turn, put a minion from your deck into the battlefield. So pretty much he's a Gyarados to Alarmabot's magic card. But what's crucial to understand about this mechanic is that, for better or for worse, it doesn't trigger battle cries. And this is partially why you've seen so little of Yogg-Saron, is that many of the most popular cards in the game are battle cry cards, especially for sustain and working against those countless aggro bastards.
Now you can 100% cheat this for your benefit, as he also doesn't trigger negative battle cries, which there are many cards in the game like that, and he also doesn't trigger overload. Personally, the trick that I like to use when I'm picking out minions to go with Yogg-Saron is the Resurrect trick, and what that is if a minion would benefit from Resurrect, and I would say, yay, glad that one got picked, it's a good card to choose. Now this may be old news for those of you who have tried to tinker with him, but the one truly great advantage of this card is that you get to be very selective about what cards get pulled out. So for example, if you're running just all spells and then 2 giant sandworms, Yogg-Saron will pull out the sandworms. And this visibly shines in dragon decks, which not only allows you to pull out high mana cost cards that are game enders and must kills, but many of the non-battle cry dragons will synergize around a spell-based control deck. Now this is where things can become a little complicated. In order to make sure that you're not drawing healing minions or cheap cards, you're going to need a class with a lot of cheap consistent control type spells, a lot of sustain, and then you put on high cost minions. Essentially you're building a deck for Yogg-Saron, but then with dragons and game enders on top. Now what I'm about to say is going to sound crazy, and it's going to sound stupid, and it's going to sound counterintuitive, but I want you to please just hear me out on this. And I want to tell you that it's actually a good idea to play him alongside Yogg-Saron. Now I know that sounds like a joke because Yogg-Saron will not trigger Yogg-Saron's battle cry, but try to think of it like this. Imagine there's a 10-10 card that summons a 7-5 minion. You absolutely would play that card. In fact, it would probably be considered OP because 17 face attack value is more than summoning 2 giants. With Yogg-Saron, you're going to have to build a deck anyway in which Yogg-Saron flourishes. So you don't want to be just dependent on one card, just waiting for the Yogg-Saron. If you draw the Yogg-Saron first, you still get the full benefit. If you play Yogg-Saron first, you get the board control and you get the draw and the weird RNG. But even if you play Yogg-Saron and he does happen to summon Yogg-Saron, you're looking at, 17-15, which is still excellent. Obviously, just remember to throw in some game enders on top of that, like Malagos or Archmage Antonidas. Now, 2 thoughts before I go, and the first, which is an absolute shame, which is that Yogg-Saron doesn't trigger end-of-turn effects. And to clarify, that's for cards like Hogger, Emperor Therizian, or Ysera. And while I wouldn't say entirely avoid playing these cards with him, it's something that you should definitely think about. I know they're not going to see this video, but if Blizzard could do that one small tweak of having end-of-turn cards do their effect after they've been summoned, Yogg-Saron should be an exceptionally, even more viable card than it is. Just as powerful as, say, Cthulhu or N'Zoth, because you could really create a taunt barricade with cards like Obsidian Destroyer or Hogger. Because there are so many damn cards that synergize with Yogg-Saron that I'm just going to let this list play through the end of the episode. And one last thought for this video, if it hasn't come across already, I just want to reiterate that Yogg-Saron is an exceptionally difficult card, and I just wouldn't recommend him to new players. You need to fully, not only have full decks, but you have to have a good understanding of this game. I'll throw in some deck lists in the description, but don't spend all of your milk money if you don't have the heavy hitters to really benefit from him. Especially because control and tempo decks just take so much practice and prior experience. Anyways, we love making these kind of videos, so if this was helpful in any way, a like goes a long way. And if you want to see more, just throw us a subscription. And yeah, I hope to see you in the tavern. Have a good one.